Let's dive into Reilly's training so we can stay consistent at home. We want to make sure that we reward Reilly when he's doing appropriate behavior or the behaviors that we want to continue to see. So, for example, if he starts whining or barking or doing any of the unwanted behaviors that led to the reactivity that we've saw before, we do not want to reward that with petting or praise or any behavior like that. We could either ignore it or we're going to address it with the training equipment. It just depends on the situation. Instead, we will reward him when he listens to our commands using praise, treats, and petting. We will also reward him when he makes calm decisions on his own. So let's dive into his training equipment so we can follow through when he doesn't do the behavior that we're asking. So a prong collar, we already know how a prong collar kind of works. So what we're going to do is how to put it on and take it off. We need to take it apart at any link in the middle, and we're going to push down and through. That way we can get the collar off. And then we put the collar on and we're going to pinch this prong and slide it in like so. So the leash attaches to the D-ring, the one that swivels. So when we use it, we want to make sure that the leash does not have constant tension in it. This can create frustration. This can also lead to more reactivity. Instead, the leash needs to remain loose. That's why we taught him the heel command, which means walk next to me on a loose leash. So if he tries to walk faster than our pace, we will say no, pop and release the leash, and then give him the command heel so that he knows to walk next to us. So whenever we take Reilly for a walk, 80% of your walk should be in the heel command. Heel means walk next to us on a nice loose leash. You can do this anywhere. I would do it just maybe once a day to keep it, strong for him. If he decides to pull forward, we're going to say no, pop and release, heel. So we're giving that reminder again. We're marking the incorrect behavior with our verbal no. We're telling him exactly where the mistake happened, following through, tell him heel, and then after a little bit, maybe 10 steps or so, when he is in the good heel position, good heel, we can then reward. So it's important that you only pop and release the leash, no constant tension, no matter what we're doing, because again, tension can lead to reactivity, stress, and we want to avoid that. So let's go over the remote collar and how to turn that on, and then we'll dive deeper into the commands and how to follow through. So with the remote collar here, we have this little red dot. This is a magnetic key that we're going to use the matching one on the remote to turn the collar on. This is the only way that you can turn his collar on is by touching these two together. You're going to see a green light flash. It's going to flash every few seconds to let you know that the collar's on, charged, and ready to go. Now the remote, backside here, we're going to push and hold until the screen lights up. Now I will go over the rest of the features of the remote collar and everything else at the end of the video, but for right now we're going to focus on this black S button. So this is to help us follow through and set clear boundaries for Reilly. He likes to follow a leader, so we are going to lead him to be successful. If he doesn't listen to our command, there is a consequence for that. We're going to follow through and say, hey, no, you can't just do what you want. You have to follow our direction. That way everybody stays happy. So let's go back to the heel. So 80% of your walk should be in the heel command, loose leash, left-hand side, no tension on the leash, walking at our pace. If he tries to walk ahead or do anything other than walk next to us on a nice loose leash, we're going to say no and push that black S button. And you'll see it gives my thumb just a little twitch. It's just a little stimulation that he feels on the collar. So again, it's no, stim, heel. So then we're telling him, hey, this is what we expect. Remember, because he might get distracted and get a little, what am I supposed to do again? Oh yeah, so it's no, so no pulling on the leash, follow through with the black S button, and then tell him the heel command. So no, heel. Now the other 20% of your walk, you can tell Reilly free. That is his release term of he no longer has to be in the heel position. You tell him free, and that's where we follow him. He can sniff, and we follow him, keeping the leash loose. So again, that's only 20% of your walk. So let's dive into the other commands. So sit, stay, for example, we saw that, when he was greeting people, we have him sit, nice loose leash next to us, and his job is to stay in that sit until we tell him free. So each stay command, sit, down, and place, he has to stay in that command until you tell him free. So the stay is implied, with the command. Now you might give a couple reminders, like when someone's approaching, good sit, and we're rewarding him for staying in that sit. So not only are we telling him and praising him, but we're also giving him that little verbal reminder of, I need to stay in this sitting position until you tell him free, and then he's allowed to get up from that position. So have him sit, he does a good job, reward, and then when you're ready, free. Now if he gets up before you say free, follow through. No, follow through with your equipment, have him sit, and then he has to stay until you give him the free command. He can't just get up on his own. So then moving on to down. So when we tell him down, it means lay down and stay. Not get off from jumping, not get off of the couch. It means lay down and stay there. So if he gets up from the down, no, follow through with your training equipment, tell him down again. So following through just means applying the pressure, either a pop and release from the prong collar or a push of the button with the remote collar. And then the big difference, I guess, between down and sit would be sit, you don't want to, or you can free from a distance. So for example, door manners, you can have him sit at the door. That way he goes in and out of doors nice and calm. When you go on the opposite threshold, you can tell him free and he can walk through. So there's a little bit of distance. Where in down, we always go back to him, tell him he did a good job in the down state, and then tell him free. Like for example, you'll see that at the store, I put him in a down and I kind of walk around the store, still within sight for the most part. And then I go back to him, tell him good down, and then I tell him free, versus telling him free and then coming to me. That's not how we're going to practice come when called. We're going to do that separately. Then we have place. So I'm going to pretend this box right here is his place bed. So as long as all four paws are on the boundary, he is on place. But if he steps off of the boundary, no, follow through, place. He has to stay on the boundary. Now, if he's staying really nice and doing what he's supposed to, we reward by putting the treat on the bed because we want him to think that the bed is the positive zone. So again, this is a boundary state. This is great for when people come over. You'll see a great video of this on how to get him used to the guests coming in the house. So we have him on place. He has his prong collar, his leash, and his remote collar on. We are standing next to him. And as your guest comes in, we are going to reward by putting the treat on the bed, as long as he doesn't have a negative reaction. Now, if he barks or tries to jump off the bed, no, follow through, have your guest go back outside, try it again until he gets it right where he is nice and calm on this bed, because he will figure out that his behavior will either lead to a positive, like a treat, or a negative, like using the training equipment to follow through. He'll figure that out very quickly as long as we stay consistent. So if he barks, he gets a negative. If he's calm and quiet, he gets a positive, so he'll want to continue to do the positive behavior. So then you can have your guest, from a distance that they feel safe at, can toss treats onto the bed to get him used to their presence and over time build a relationship so he has a positive association with that person. So that is place, and that's what we're going to use a lot in the home, especially when guests come over. So place is stay on this boundary until we tell you free. We never free from a distance, so we'll never go 30 feet away and call him to us. We always go back to the bed, good place, and then we tell him free and kind of show him off how to get off of the bed. We just free and we let him know it's done. Free is the release term of you don't have to be in that set command or position anymore. So it's the release term for all of his commands. So now let's go over come when called. Of course, in the beginning, you want to make sure you have some sort of leash on him, especially if you're in an open area without a fence. That can be a 30-foot leash, a 50-foot leash, just not a retractable leash. Basically, this gives us that safety net that if he doesn't come back when we call him, we can reel him in like a fish. But this is how we're going to practice. So we're going to tell him free. This is his time to sniff and run around. And when we want his attention, we're going to call him Reilly, come. When he comes to us, we're praising as he comes. We're going to have him sit and reward. We're going to reward every time to, again, build that reward history, that positive association with doing the command that we are asking of him. And then we tell him free and do it again. Now, if he doesn't listen to the command, we're going to follow through with the remote collar first. If that gets his attention, we do the same thing. No, come, good boy, sit, reward, free. If it doesn't get his attention and he's just really into whatever, we then no, follow through, right? We can then use the leash to reel him in like a fish, because he has to learn when we give a command, we are going to follow through. In the beginning, as we're transferring training over, the first couple weeks, I recommend having all of his training equipment on majority of the time. First thing in the morning, the remote collar goes on. Before your first walk, prong collar goes on. If you're having guests over before your first walk, prong collar and leash needs to be on in the home. And I would even have him wear a muzzle too. Safety's always first, especially if this is a new guest that he has never seen before or a guest that he's had a negative encounter with. So safety's always first, have him on place. The guest just exists in the home and we are doing the rewarding, not the guest, until he's comfortable. Then we can take the muzzle off and the guest can toss treats onto the bed. But anyway, I'm kind of jumping ahead. The important thing is these go on every day. So every day, first thing in the morning, training collar goes on. Before our first walk, prong collar goes on. And anytime we need to do some training, especially around guests, leash, collar, prong collar, all on at the same time. All right, and then we have leave it. So leave it means don't grab that. This is more for, food you drop on the ground or anything like that. We also worked on off. So with the couch, you're going to practice at home. You're going to have the leash nice and loose, walk up to the couch. If he jumps on it without you giving permission, you're going to say off and pull him off using the leash. Pop, pop, just pull him off. If he doesn't, good, then you can sit down and then if you want, you can call him up to the couch or you don't have to. That's fine. The couch doesn't have to be part of his life, but that is an option for us now. Off means get off of the couch. And then, leave it. So leave it is like if you drop a cracker on the ground, he's not to go for it. But if you say leave it and he leaves it alone, great, we can reward that, praise, petting, treats, fun, fun, fun. If he still shows interest, we're going to follow through. Leave it. The first time you practice, have the leash on because in the kitchen, it's known for having dropped food. He might have a positive association with eating food off of the floor if he got to do that in previous homes. So we just have to keep in mind, what has he been rewarded for in the past? That has a reward history. So if he's been rewarded for barking, that has a positive association in his mind. So we have to stop rewarding it, use the training equipment to redirect him, and then reward other appropriate behaviors. So that is it for right now. I am going to go over the rest of the features of this remote collar here at the end of the video. You want to reward what you want to see, follow through to decrease what you don't want to see, have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you Reilly's commands. Reilly, come. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Down. Good. Did you forget? Good boy. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good boy. Good job. Free. Good job. Leave it. Good boy. Sorry. Free? Okay. Leave it. Leave it. Good boy. Okay. Okay. Good job, Reilly. Leave it. Boy. So good. Okay. Okay. Good boy. Off. Thank you. Okay. All right, let's dive into the rest of the features of his remote collar. So I guess set that to the side. Okay, so we know how to turn the collar on. Let's turn the collar off. So this will last about 2 days on a charge as long as you shut it off at night. He should only wear this 12 to 14 hours a day, take it off at night. So we're going to tap. The red means off. Tap again, green means on. So now we know how to turn this off at the end of the day, but I'm gonna leave it on right now so you can see a few things. The on-off button in the back, we're gonna push and hold that until it's off. So again, this big button in the middle, you push and hold it until the screen lights up. He is at level 30 right now. This could change, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. So we know the black S button is level 30. The red button is for emergencies only. So it is actually going to add 30 to whatever level is on the screen. So if you have 30 on the screen, it's going to go up to 60. Why would we ever need this? Let's say we're practicing with him and he's doing really good. We have him out at our house, we have him off leash, and he takes off for the road. He sees something, a deer, squirrel, whatever it is. And we're like, Reilly, no, come. And we're using this, and his adrenaline is up here, and 30 only gets to right here. So we need something to kind of snap him back to reality. Again, this is only for emergencies. You don't use this on a daily basis. But if you tap it, it will increase the level to 60. Okay. All right, this button over here, the T button is vibrate. That's going to vibrate just like a cell phone. What I would do, and I do this every day, is before I put this collar on Reilly in the morning, I push that vibrate button to make sure I turn the collar on. Now, later down the road, I'm talking months down the road, we can use this as a warning button. Let's say he's doing pretty good, but he's making a few mistakes here and there. Hey, no, whatever he's supposed to be doing, place. He knows, right? I wouldn't use it right now because we want to make sure that the boundaries are clear at home, and this will kind of smudge the line a little bit of what a boundary is. He might push it. We don't want to do that. This is later on once we've established the boundaries and he's doing pretty well for the most part. Now let's talk about the level 30. This will change. This changes as he will learn and practice and respect the commands. This will change as he matures and doesn't need as much of a reminder. So let's go over how to change it. Right now, this is the dial. It is locked, so we can't turn it up or down. Push down and hold it for a few seconds. Now that the 1D at the very top is flashing, we can turn the level up or down, depending on what we need it. I don't think you'll need higher than 30. You never know. One thing I do want to say is we're not really going to use this at the vet. We're not going to really use it when we're having people over. But if he sees a car or somebody walk by and he's barking, that's no, go to place. Do something productive. So you're correcting the unwanted behavior with this, and you're telling him to go do something productive, which will get him a reward. That's going to shift his mindset of, it's not fun to bark because I get a negative reaction, but if I go to place, I get a positive one. That's why it's so important to consistently reward what we want to see from him and consistently follow through with what we don't want to see with Reilly. So anyway, you won't use this, for example, let's say you go to the vet and he barks. Sit, take a step back. Did we go too fast? We make him sit, let him relax. Then we start rewarding the calm, quiet behavior. I would use just the prong collar, but again, not constant tension, but a pop and release versus using this. This is more for obedience style. So anyway, as he gets older and as he practices the commands, he'll probably need a lower level to get the point across. Right now, 30 works for him. He respects it. Great, we're going to keep it at 30. If you notice he's not respecting the level, turn it up to 35. That's okay. If you notice that he's doing really well and he doesn't need 30, he's just kind of listening, you can turn it down to 25 or 20, and you can lock it there. So let's turn it back to 30. We're going to push down and hold it until the 1D is solid. Perfect. Okay, so that's how you adjust the level. Now, on the back of the remote here, we have the on-off button, which we talked about, but it also says light under there. What that is instead of pushing and holding it to turn the remote off, if you just tap it, you activate a flashlight, and it's just cool that you can see him at night. The M/C button, you don't need to worry about it. You'll never need to touch it. But what it is, the M stands for momentary. So when you push and hold the button down, it will only stimulate that momentary second. The C for continuous will stimulate as long as you are holding down on the button. So it's a continuous stimulation. We use that in the beginning when we're introducing the collar to commands he already knows. So he starts to learn what the collar is all about. Now we only use it as needed if he doesn't listen to the command. So again, setting that firm boundary. This is rechargeable. So the charging port's right there on the collar itself. Charger under there. You could probably get away with charging this every other night as long as you turn it off at night. Like I said, he has to have it off at night because this fits so snug that we got to give his skin a break. Also, when you put it on him, anywhere underneath is where the little box will go. He does have the extended prongs because his hair is pretty long and thick, so I went ahead and put those on there. Because it comes with two sets. It comes with short and long. All right, so let's dive into what's in this box. So we have the charger that'll charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. This is a clicker. You can use it for training, but it's just another thing to try and mess with. Instead, when you're marking good behavior, you just say good boy Reilly, and then you follow through with a treat. That's basically what the clicker does, is helps you mark good behavior. These are the short little prongs that it originally came with, and this is the little tool right here to change it back if you need to, but with his hair I would just leave it as is. An extra lanyard, and then at the bottom we have the manual that goes over all the buttons in greater detail, but we did pretty much cover everything. This does here have a 2-year full warranty, so if anything happens to it, give them a call and they can help you out and replace it. So those are the rest of the features of his remote collar. This is going to be a great adventure for you guys. It's just important that you have fun, stay consistent. Let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to hearing from you.